Hello, YouTube. My name is Alan, and it's that time once again. Let's talk metal. Tonight, we're going to be doing a dive into a new wave of British heavy metal band that didn't have a particularly huge catalog, but did a lot of fantastic music, and they're getting an anthology released very soon. So I've kind of lined up the timing on this one to maybe help promote that just a little bit. The band in question is the pride of Yorkshire, Mendes Prey. And yes, I'm wearing a old Mendes Prey t-shirt that someone printed up in the early 2000s. So Mendes Prey's history is similar to a lot of other new wave of British heavy metal bands. The thing that makes them stand out is simply the quality of the music, which we'll get into here in just a couple of minutes. They started out, in the early 80s. Like most bands, they recorded some demo material. Even the demos were of a really high quality, and it quickly got them some attention in the heavy metal press in the UK in the early 1980s. This eventually gave them, reason to go ahead and record a single, like most bands did back in that day. The single in question was released in 1982 and is this one. It's called On the Borderline. Flip side is, let's see, Running for You. Has a very distinct picture sleeve with the blue on white color scheme. Most new wave of British heavy metal singles, if they had a sleeve, of course, were black and white, but this one is blue and white. And you have the bird carrying the guitar. Pretty cool graphic. A little trivia note. The color scheme was supposed to be inverted. This was supposed to be on like blue paper, and the band logo and the graphics were all supposed to be in white. But something went wrong at the printer, and it ended up being a blue print on a white background instead of white print on a blue background. So that didn't quite work out. Nevertheless, we get what, for my money, is arguably the best new wave of British heavy metal single released. Let's go to the tape and check out a bit of the music. Let's start with the first track, On the Borderline. All right, so yes, you can hear right away. Onto the Borderline showcases exactly what the band was great at. They had a good hybridization of 70s hard rock and new wave of British heavy metal. And I think this kind of thing appeals equally to fans of Michael Schenker era UFO, as well as Tigers of Pantang and bands from that next generation that came along. Great guitar, great melodies, really strong vocal performance from John Jai Seymour. I have mispronounced his name in the past as G, but it's J-I-H, but pronounced Jai, so apologies for getting that wrong in the past. Yeah, great frontman, great sound. These guys really could write extremely good songs. And to prove this isn't one of those one-side killer, one-side filler type singles, let's also check out a clip of the other track, Running for You. This one kind of builds up slowly. It's a good build-up, but I'll skip about a minute into the track so we get to the main verse. So here's a sample from Running for You.
Situation
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Both songs, very catchy, highly memorable. Again, for my money, it's possibly the best single that came out of that entire era of the new wave of British heavy metal. So yeah, Mendes Prey kind of hit the ground running in 1982 with this very strong single. They also had a song included on that year's Heavy Metal Heroes Volume 2 compilation, which was released through Heavy Metal Records. That song's entitled What the Hell's Going On? And it actually got picked up by Levi's. Yes, the jeans company. And in the UK, Levi's ended up using the song in some radio commercials for advertising purposes. So the band got a little bit of a sponsorship deal there, got some free, gear to wear on stage and such. I guess they at least didn't have to worry about running out of trousers there for a while. So yeah, things were going well in 82. The band continued to tour and play live through 83 and 84, but they didn't get anything else released on vinyl until 1985 when they contributed a pair of tracks to a compilation called Parkside Steelworks. And you can kind of tell by the cover graphic here that this was a relatively low budget affair. It was populated by bands that used the Parkside recording studio, which I believe was in Leeds. Mendes Prey got to contribute two tracks. There's a picture of them on the top back corner, and they have both the first track and the last track on the compilation, Red Alert and Cry for the World. Both of these are very strong songs, still in the vein of what they were doing in 1982. So again, still fantastic material. Yeah, some of the other stuff, just again, as kind of a quick side note on here, the other bands featured are Circa, Gypsy, East to West, Virgin, and Lizard. I don't recall any of these. Well, I don't recall any of these. Granted, it's been a while since I played the entire compilation, but yeah, none of the other bands ever made a particularly strong impression. While this is a relatively rare compilation, most folks are going to pick it up because they want the two Mendes Prey tracks, not because they're dying to hear that Lizard song. But I was double checking. It looks like several groups did get two songs apiece. So you at least do get to hear a decent amount of material from the bands rather than just being one song each. So yeah, they put out that in 1985. Didn't get a lot of circulation. It's obviously, more of like a local sampler kind of compilation, but nevertheless, it contains some really good tracks. In 1986, the band was working with new management, and this is where things kind of got unraveled. 1986 is already really, really late to the party for new wave of British heavy metal. Most folks would agree the party had ended a couple of years before that. There were still some bands soldiering on. There were some good new wave of British heavy metal releases in 86, but yeah, you're kind of past the expiration date. Their new management was trying to push them into a new direction, and I bet you can't guess what direction that was. It was more of a, hard rock, soft rock, AOR kind of direction. They did release another single that year. It came out on both 7-inch and 12-inch formats. The A side, though, was a reworking of the old Demon song titled Wonderland. Uh, Kind of an odd choice in a way for a cover track if this is supposed to be the single to help you break out. Yeah, the band, is pictured on the sleeve. They're wearing very typical looking kind of mid 80s hairdos and, suit jacket things and all of that. Suffice it to say, it didn't go down particularly well and, was kind of, the final call for the band. Management definitely kind of blew it on that one. So that unfortunately was, the end of Mendes Prey in their days of recording. Now, Jai went on to, sort of, do a lot of successful studio work. As I recall, he's mainly stationed in Australia these days. I think in the past I've said he was stationed somewhere else like South Africa, but it's supposed to be Australia. So again, apologies for getting that wrong in past videos where I've mentioned this band. Mendes Prey did get a second lease on life in the mid 2010s, however. They got an anthology released on No Remorse Records. This one, called The Never Ending Road, has the 7-inch sleeve on the cover. No surprise there. And this includes not only the singles and the compilation tracks, but it includes some of the early demos and also some live tracks that are very, very good. It's, not a case of a band that just had one or two good songs. A lot of this unreleased material is very strong. Uh, Tellingly, so I look at the track list here, they don't include the cover of Wonderland on the anthology. They're like, we don't even want that on our, collection. So that kind of tells you how that project went over. But yeah, the unreleased stuff on here, the live tracks have decent sound quality, the demos do too. And you tell, yeah, this was a very talented band, that had a lot of good ideas and were writing some really strong songs. They just never quite got that big break. I had an opportunity to do an email interview with Jai that was published back in 2015, around the time the compilation came out. This was published in Steel for an Age #4. He was a really nice guy, answered all my questions, included some cool stories about the band and their time traveling. And as I said at the start of this video, they're about to get another anthology collection. No Remorse has retooled the Neverending Road collection. This time it's going to have the correct colors on the graphics. So it'll be a blue background with everything done in white, the way the band originally intended for it to look. The track list is also going to include at least 3 songs that are not on this one. I think they found some more studio tracks that just weren't available. They didn't have the tapes at the time this original version came out. So for Mendes Prey fans, there's a really good reason to pick up the new edition. It's going to have, new liner notes and all that. But yeah, you're going to get 3 additional tracks that you haven't heard before. Maybe there's a bootleg or live recording out there somewhere that has them. I don't have them on anything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to hear 3 more tracks of Mendes Prey material for sure. I'll include a link in the description below to the pre-order page for No Remorse in case anybody wants to go ahead and make sure they get that as soon as possible. So yeah, Mendes Prey's story is similar to a lot of the other new wave of British heavy metal acts, where compilation appearance here and there, a couple of singles, and never really were able to grab that brass ring. But they did leave behind a much stronger body of music than a lot of their contemporaries. And this was a band that definitely had the talent. Sometimes I feel like looking back, we all tend to use that phrase a little too often that, oh, this band just needed a break. When you stop and listen to a lot of those bands, some of them had, a few good songs, but they probably did not have enough material in them to ever release a full-length album that would have been really solid. Eh, Based on all the material Mendes Prey has featured and is about to feature on the new anthology, it's clear, yes, this band really could have put out an outstanding album if they'd had the chance. So I think that phrase, they just needed a break, really does apply in this case. It's a shame they didn't get to do it then, but hey, at least the world has gotten to check out the material here years and years later. All right, that's going to do it for this video. So now let's talk metal in the comments down below. What do you think of Mendes Prey and the clips that I played? Hopefully you're excited about them and want to check out more. What other new wave of British heavy metal bands still need the anthology treatment? Is there a band you think has been overlooked and had a lot of quality material, more than enough to fill out a best of type collection CD? And they just haven't yet. Sometimes this is on the band. Certain bands don't want their material released. They don't want to go back and deal with that. But others may just have missed the notice of labels like No Remorse and High Roller. Labels like those have done a really good job mining through, bands from the 80s and the new wave of British heavy metal in particular, and putting out a lot of nice collections. But I'm sure there are some out there that you still feel like, when are they finally going to release a collection by you fill in the blank in the comments down below? Let people know what bands still need a little more visibility. All right, so that is going to do it for this video. So until next time, everybody take care, and as always, keep banging your head.